today. It's Oscar's Corner Cafe. We knew you'd be back and stay. It's Oscar's Corner Cafe. Let's smile, laugh, and today it's Oscar's Corner. Welcome back.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's date is about August 6th, August 6th, 2020 at 6. I feel loopy. I'm waiting for this damn stupid coffee to kick in. It was about this big, now it's about this big, and I'm just kind of waiting for it to cycle through my system so I can get going. But we don't have time for that. So, what are we going to be diving into this episode? First of all, thank you for coming back to the episode. Thank you for listening, sharing, liking, subscribing, and listening to the episodes in their full entirety. Really helps the channel grow. It helps the analytics. It helps the algorithm kind of push the videos to other people as well, that it's getting popularity and kind of go from there. So we're all building out. Also, as you guys can tell, we updated our logo to a more colorful, modern look. So you're probably going to be seeing that logo behind me. So it's more than likely going to be replacing this on-air sign, and we're probably going to be redoing everything in the background just to kind of clean it up a bit. Since we are updating the channel, we're approaching our first year, and it is exciting. I think I might do a very special episode where I might re-release my very first episode that I posted on Facebook. Maybe I'll clip it or I'll do something with it, or I don't know. I'll figure it out. But anyways, before I go into a different tangent, the other stuff that we're going to be talking apart from that is NFL fantasy football. Yes, we are approaching the NFL football, and it's about to go down. So I'm excited. I'm stoked. I cannot wait to embark on this other effing wonderful season. And we're going to see how that goes. We have a team draft with one of the teams that I'm in on Saturday. But on Saturday, we also have a tournament for my daughter, Michaela. And she is going to be doing that. My other child she has tomorrow off, but she's been grinding for the past 4 days with a new competitive dance program that she's in. So we're going to be pretty busy on the weekend. If the team approaches the final, then I will definitely be releasing an episode either Monday or Tuesday, kind of giving everybody an update. I'll definitely let you guys know who I'm looking to pick for the fantasy football picks, even though I don't know. I have no fucking clue. I have no clue. I think this is one of those times where I'm kind of out of touch as to what the hell is going on with the NFL and its current state. So we shall see how that pans out. But apart from that, I think the other thing I wanted to talk about was on this episode, we're going to be discussing toxic parenting. Are you a toxic parent? Do you consider yourself a toxic parent? Are you full of shit thinking that you're not a toxic parent? We're going to dive into that. We're also going to be, if you were a spoiled child growing up, were you a brat? We're going to go into those attributes because a lot of that stuff kind of still translates to adulthood. And after reading a lot of this stuff, which you can find on CDC for behavioral health, and I'm going to cite that information on the description of the video. You guys are more than welcome to read the articles. It's all there. But I will dive into that, and you're going to be pretty surprised, kind of self-reflecting a little bit, if you were a spoiled child or if you're spoiling your shit out of your kids. So there's a lot of attributes and qualities that you're going to be seeing in your children that you're going to be like, now I wonder, who the fuck is to blame? It ain't the laptop. It ain't the computer. It's you, buddy. Look in. Look right here. Mira, grab a mirror, bro, and look in, and you're going to be like, oh, shit, it's me. Yeah, it's you. You're probably the cause of it. Now, every child and every kid handles, I guess you can say, easy access to resources differently. Some take advantage of it because they don't know how to handle it. Some are managed, I guess, by their parents a little bit better, and they're able to kind of navigate all the stuff that they do have in comparison to other kids their age. They might not have the same things. And them realizing that and understanding that will kind of let them know where they are and the things they need to be grateful for. And so we're going to be diving in on that, and then we're going to dive in right into Crockett. And Crockett is a game where you hit balls, a lot of balls, all shapes, all colors of different balls. and you put this little sticky thing in the ground. And now, apologies if I am honestly just describing this shit off the hip, but I don't have time to research croquet, dude, or croquet. I don't. So this is the way I can explain it. So we played this in Othello of about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was a game that it was pretty interesting, actually, pretty funny. And apart from the shenanigans that I spoke about in the previous episode with the family reunion and everybody that was there and partaking into the event, you had my compadre basically wearing a gray tank top, some shorts, and some cowboy boots. I mean, that was the most hillbilly shit that I think I've ever seen my compa do, but that's why I love him, because he's just himself. But apart from that, then you had my nephew JP breaking shafts, you know, and hitting balls left and right, all shapes and colors of different balls. You had black balls, red balls, blue balls, white balls, all types of balls. And you try to hit them down this chingadera, this little arc thing, and you follow the pattern and eventually you win. But it was hilarious because obviously there's a lot of innuendos implied when you say the word, right? Hey man, why don't you hit my black balls? Yo, your red balls are touching mine, dog. Oh, fuck. Do I tell you this shit's childish? Yes, it is. But so what? We're enjoying it. But apart from that, a little bit of data on the channel. We're approaching 10,000 subscribers, and we are blessed to have 90,200 at this point. We're about we're about 1.4 million total views collectively. I think, and I might have mentioned on this episode earlier when we first chimed in. If not, it's probably on the previous recording that I just deleted because I sounded like a dumbass. But basically, I will probably more than likely be clipping one of my very old episodes, and I'm going to be putting it on this episode that I'm going to be releasing once we get to 10K, just so we see where we've started to where we are and if we've changed a little bit. I got a pretty interesting comment, though, actually, from my comadre Marisol. Shout out Marisol. She mentioned a pretty interesting thing, that she was looking at my old ass videos, right? Like from earlier last year in comparison to now. And she was saying that the background looked shitty. My face looked swollen. And she's not sure if it was the angle or what. No, it's called not drinking alcohol. So, and reducing it to a point where you're not consuming it and it's not consuming you. So I'm still on that journey. So I will continue to moderate and manage the consumption of that. So we'll see how far along this goes. My wife is also on a health trip on her own and our health journey. So we'll see what this looks like a year from now. But she's definitely on a mission, and got to give her space. But so let's dive into the first topic. The San Francisco 49ers. If you're not a Niner fan, don't go nowhere. Let me tell you, because I'm gonna give some smoke to the Niners and shit, because I think a lot of the stuff, and I know this is not a Niner channel. I get it. We're not like what's my boy Grant Cohn. I love his channel. Biggest fucking hater in the world though when it comes to the Niners, but he's not even a hater. I think he's just a very cruelly honest and blunt on his perspective and his opinion on how he feels about the Niners and their current state. And at first, I was like, nah, man, you're just being a hater. But then, dude, I'm not going to lie. I'm low-key kind of inclined to really listen to him more, because honestly, as crazy as banters and takes that he has a lot of good points. He's not overly pessimistic. There's a couple other influencers out there and podcasters that have some crazy wild takes. There are some incredible homers that no matter what the Niners do, they're still going to be supporting the team. I am one of those, but to a fault and to a certain extent, I will follow the team, but there's certain points where you got to step away and acknowledge it for what it is. So what's happened? So if you don't know or have not been made aware, so there's always been a rumor in the NFL that the substation, the electrical substation, which is directly adjacent to the training facility for the San Francisco 49ers, it has been rumored and now it's starting to get more traction, because historically the San Francisco 49ers have been one of the most, if not the most injury-prone team in the entire NFL for the past 5 years. And it's been insane. And you guys are more than welcome to look up the stats. I'm not going to pull them up here, but we're talking about CMC. We're talking about Brock Purdy. We're talking about Ricky Pearsall. We're talking about Trent Williams. We're talking about George Kittle. We're talking about Tonjes. We're talking about Fred Warner. We're talking about Dre Greenlaw. I mean, name it. It's been so many damn players that have gone down because of injuries that it's utterly insane. And it's not like a random ass player that you can kind of backfill because you have a good depth chart. These are key, pivotal players that are part of your team that are now going down and getting injured. So now your team is on the back of the 8 ball trying to compensate or make moves or make adjustments to compensate for that player not being there. And that result doesn't always translate well. And I think last season we had Brock Purdy and the whole Mac Jones fiasco where people wanted Mac Jones to be the permanent quarterback. People wanted Brock Purdy to rock it and take it home. Then you had CMC who was getting touches every fucking play. It's like the only thing that we had in our playbook was get CMC the ball. And it turned into him only having like 2.7 to 3.2 yards per game, which was crappy. But he had an exorbitant amount of touches, but very zero gains. Then you had George Kittle going down. Drake Tonjes takes over, which is a really great rookie. Then he gets injured. Trent Williams off and on. And that was just a handful of years. Now, what are we running into this year? Well, I think we're like in second or third week of training camp. And we already have the issues already. Number one, we signed Mike Evans, who's a phenomenal wide receiver. And he came over from the Tampa Bay Bucks. Great wide receiver. He now apparently has a hamstring that's tweaked, that it's toy, very toy. So now they got to put him on a snap count and make sure that he doesn't get injured. Now, again, he is injury prone already, and you're signing him to a full year. So I'm like, oh, fudge, here we go, bro. And then after that, you have Kalen Black, which is I think it was a controversial pick from the San Francisco 49ers as running back. And he played with Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, good, solid running back. And now he goes down because of a groin pull or a groin injury, but they can't call it a groin injury. They call it something like something with your stomach or anyway, that muscle in your core. And it's something that's getting tight. So he is also now not necessarily practicing with the team. Then you have Ricky Pearsall, for the life of me. Lord, Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall was a first-round pick a few years ago, and tragically, he was shot in an attempted robbery in San Francisco. He survived the attack, did well, recovered. Then he came back the following season, barely played because he was still not in game shape, and that was it. However, there were rumors that his PCL was starting already to get a little bit on the something's going on side. And at the end of the season, he opted not to have the season-ending surgery to fix his problem and then come back the following season fully recovered. Instead, he opted not to do it. Instead, he tried to have his own way of handling it and his own trainings. But instead of him doing that, my guy ended up being the cultural type and ended up wanting to travel. I think there was a lot of videos via Instagram or other social media resources that he went to Japan, he went to all over the world. But my guy still continued to do running and doing drills and doing some other stuff and just going around everywhere. So you would think like, damn, dude, he's really taking care of himself. But who was he doing that for? Was he doing that to prove something to the audience like us, basically saying that he's fine? Was he doing that to kind of convince himself that he was going to be doing okay? What was the purpose? Because he comes back a few weeks ago and he injures his PCL. Now he's out for the season. So now we have no wide receiver. So who comes back in the fold? Deebo freaking Samuel. Now, Deebo Samuel has not had a relevant good season since 2021 with the San Francisco 49ers, and then he got traded and went over to the Commanders, which he averages about 700 to 800 receiving yards. Not bad, but not something you're going to be like, oh my God, he's going to be amazing. But he was so infatuated and in love and wanted to play with Daniels, the QB from the Commanders, that everybody was like, yeah, he'll do fine. And all of a sudden he's coming back. And so we are re-signing a player, a wide receiver that is in his decline. He drops the ball a lot, and he's a little bit on the older side. And come to think of it, he also gets injured from time to time. So I don't know where this thought process is. Then you have Fred Warner, that during practice, him and Greenlaw tends to be extra chippy. He's notorious for that. And during practice, basically, Fred Warner tackles, I forgot his name, but his last name is James, one of the running backs, and he hits him so hard that he bruises the guy's ribs. So he's fucking down. And then George Kittle's still out from last year. So I'm like, yo, we're not even at week 1 and we're already dealing with this whole substation shit. Is it the substation though? Is it training? Is it them not stretching enough? Is it diet? Are they working out too much to the point where their muscles are so tight that any sort of extraneous activity is just messing with them? Are they not doing proper care before in their OTAs or something like that before they come back to the regular season? What are they not doing? Because some shit's going off. And then on top of that, this is the freaking thing. Then Kyle Shanahan, if you guys don't know, he's the coach. He's the head coach of the team. He gets in a car accident in his Tesla, and either he went through a red light or something along those lines. He was at an intersection and he was T-boned by another vehicle, or he T-boned another vehicle in a momentary distraction where he says he was reaching for his phone. He strikes not a young child, but a 20-something-year-old girl, and he messes up his eye, gets a concussion, and then he's down, slowly recovering. He's back to normal, I guess, to normal activities, but there was a moment in time where I think he had an interview based on what I've read on the article and from what I've heard from La Roca, from Grant Cohn, and other social media guys that I also follow, and I'm a subscriber for. Basically, I guess during his interview, when he was talking to the media, basically he broke down in tears and at some point was kind of feeling a little bit emotional himself, making comments that there had been moments and times after the accident where he was showing really strong signs of a concussion, where basically he would wake up in an emotional state. He would literally wake up crying for random shit. Just completely does not have any sort of his emotional senses together. So I'm thinking, like, who the hell is going to be making the decisions? I mean, is this going to be impacting his decision making during the games? More than likely it will. Of course it will. But how he navigates through that, we shall see. So then I go back to this question. Is it the substation? Is it? You give me your thoughts and comments, or are we Niner fans just tripping the fuck out, tripping balls? Get it? And what is it? Are we overthinking it? Should we just say, fuck it, whatever? We're just very emotional creatures. Because honestly, I'm getting to the point where I can't even talk smack about the Cowboys, because we give the Cowboy fans a hard time for them not winning a Super Bowl since 94. We haven't won one since 95. Okay? And we've been to the Super Bowl a handful of times after that with Jim Harbaugh, twice with Kyle Shanahan, against the same damn fucking teams, I think, with the exception of, who was it? With the Ravens, when he played his brother. And that was the Kyle Kaepernick era where, Crabtree, that was a weird Super Bowl. But then the ones that I am completely pissed off against are the ones that we faced, the Kansas City Chiefs, twice. And we couldn't do shit. Both times. We had Emmanuel Sanders wide open down the middle, and Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't get him the ball. And then on the other one, those are the ones that stand out. Then we had the other Super Bowl where Dre Greenlaw, or in the NFC Championship, he hurts his foot, doesn't advance. But then we're injured all over the place. Bosa's getting held. And we can't do nothing. We decide to run the ball rather than pass it. And then we are literally at the 20-something yard line, and Kyle Shanahan opts to kick a field goal rather than take the ball as close as possible to the goal line. And Patrick Mahomes gets the ball back with about a minute and some change, He goes down the field, and guess what? He fucking scores. And the thing that's frustrating is that on those 2 Super Bowls, and if you're a Niner fan, you know exactly the frustration I'm feeling. They were winning both games. They were winning. It's like, it's one thing if you're getting blown out the water like we did against Seattle this past season, which was very hurtful, and it was very painful to watch. And Seattle Seahawks, they kicked our ass. And I'm saying "our" because I'm that invested with the team that I'm passionate about it. And we lost twice to Patrick Mahomes. We couldn't stop him. Our defense couldn't stop him. We couldn't run against them. We couldn't do shit against them. Whatever adjustments they did had us completely just like nothing. But that's where we're at. You know, what's the level of expectation that we should be managing ourselves as fans as to what we're going to get this season? Excuse me. I have no idea, but it's frustrating. And now, so the only thing I can look up to, the only thing I can get excited for is the fact that we are going to have a crazy fantasy football. I don't even know who the hell to pick. I think I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys who I'm going to pick probably after the fact, but I have that going on Saturday and then another one later on in the year. But before I dive into any of that, I definitely want to chime in and get back to the topic of this particular episode. So, and I bring this up just primarily, there's a story behind this. I'm not going to mention any names. I will not be, I'm going to try to kind of navigate why I got this information. Or I might not. Fuck it. I don't know. The point is that I think that there's a lot of us parents who have kids of our own. Sometimes we put on our blinders on that we forget the damage that we are doing to our kids. And it's not in a physical sense, it's not in a verbal sense, but it's in a sense when you are literally being extra toxic with your child directly, and you are just being toxic in general in anything in regards to your child. And I say this in particularly with parents who are currently have children in extracurricular activities, whether it's sports, dance, arts, or whatever. I think we are all guilty, including myself, that we always think about the what ifs, these off-the-wall scenarios of, oh, what if I have the next Joe Montana? What if I have the next Fred Astaire? What if I have the next Canelo Alvarez? What if I have the next Abbey Lee Dance Company studio owner? What if I have the next Messi and Ronaldo? Instead of just accepting that your child is who they are, and that is who you should be embracing and be proud that they are. Put on a shirt with their fucking face on it and wear it proudly. That's what sometimes we miss, and we become toxic. So, what are signs of some toxic parenting? What are the signs that you have been a spoiled child? And how parents can prevent these behaviors from developing. So, let me ask you guys a question. Are we raising children who feel loved and prepared for life, or children who feel loved but expect life to accommodate them? You caused that. Let me ask that again. You as a parent that are listening right now, just listen tight. Or future parents. Are we raising children who feel loved and prepared for life, or children who feel loved but expect to be accommodated? So let me give you guys some signs and some hints that you might be a toxic parent. And if you're a child or a kid listening to this part, listen up, because you might be like, oh shit, is my parents doing this shit? Maybe, bro. You're going to be like, what? Yeah, exactly. Let me give you guys some examples, all right? Now, again, I'm going to cite these sources of where I'm getting this information in the video, so you guys are more than welcome to read to let you know that I'm not full of smoke, all right? So, Number one, if you're a toxic parent, your love or approval feels conditional. You're affectionate when your child performs well, when they agree with you, or makes you look good. This comes in sports. You become cold, however, and distant or rejecting them when they disappoint you. And this could be kind of like after everything I've done for you, after everything that I bought for you, after all these sessions and trainings, this is the way you're performing. You embarrassed this family. That's a fucking strong one. But I've seen some people say some really fucked up shit and record it, and the kid's like, well, yeah, I would too. I'll be proud of you when you start winning. There's a lot of toxic shit like that. I know of certain grandparents in my own family that have this thought process. This is their mentality. And it's hurtful. But maybe that's the way they grew up and that's the only way they know how to express themselves. Well, you got to teach them a few things. And then children may begin believing that love must be earned through achievement or obedience. And that's not right. You shouldn't be holding a this for that, a quid pro quo with your child. I'm going to buy you this if you give me this. There shouldn't be an immediate or instant reward for your child and have them feel like they have to like earn your love through achievements. And let me explain why that's important. Your kid is not going to win every single effing time. Your kid is not always going to make the first team. Your kid is not always going to be the team captain. Your team is not always going to score every single goal. They're not going to be hitting home runs. They're not going to be closing out games. They're going to have shitty games. They're going to have just shitty performances, shitty drawings. Hell, a bad episode. Since I'm in the podcast business, I might have an episode that might give me 1 view. I might have an episode that will give me 40,000. I've had those. But it's learning and adjusting and navigating yourself and learning how your child and teaching them how to learn how to navigate over those challenges and not completely crumble into themselves when they fail. But if you're a toxic parent, that's the expectation that you are setting for your child, that if they don't make the first team, they're shit. That if they don't make the first team, then they don't make you look good. You're toxic for that. You should be just as proud of your kid being a rec player as you would be of them being in the first team. Because if anything, them being in the first team, they're probably not really enjoying themselves, and they're probably having shitty playing time or not doing well. While on the rec team, they're scoring 57,000 goals a day, and they're living the life. But it's like if we are getting validation for our own sacrifices when our kid wins or has successes, that's wrong. You shouldn't put anything on your child. You shouldn't be using that as a metric for you to determine how successful you're doing as a sports parent. It should be evaluated and determined by how happy the child is each and every single day. Are they being a kid? Are they enjoying themselves? Because like I said, not everyone is going to be a D1 player. Not everybody is going to be a Ronaldo, a Messi, or whatever. So you need to quit setting that standard for your child and that expectation that's what they need to be. That's fucking toxic. So cut this shit out. You make everything about yourself, meaning the parents. Your child shares that they are hurt, but the conversations become about how their behavior affected you. Instead of listening, you immediately defend yourself. You may interpret disagreement or disrespect or independence as rejection. Example, the child says, "That comment hurt my feelings, Mom." And the parent replies, "So now I'm the worst parent in the world?" We've all been guilty of it. We have to look from within and accept when we're fucking up. If we are demanding too much, if we are putting too much on them than they can honestly handle, we need to scale it back and walk it back and manage expectations for ourselves. Because I've seen it firsthand. When a child doesn't make first team, the parents go ballistic and they do everything in their power and everything in between to get him on the first team. Because the child feels some type of way because now they feel like they're not worthy enough because they're not in the first team and they're surrounded by players that maybe they personally don't feel are to their level. However, at tryouts, there were other coaches that might have seen you in a different perspective. They might have seen you in a different light. But you got to learn to accept that, learn from it, and breathe and pause. Take your time, work on your art, because it's only a few months, and you can come back even better after that. Use this opportunity in time where the pressure is not so much on you to be this type of successful. Take a breather, get your mind right, and boost and grow right after. But if you are the one that's like, no, my child needs to be the first team or bust, that's tough, but to each their own. And then the other one, you use guilt as a parenting tool. This is like you regularly remind children of your sacrifices to control their decisions. Healthy parenting communicates expectations directly. Toxic guilt makes children feel that choosing their own path is a betrayal. And what I mean by that, maybe your child doesn't want to do the sport that you want them to do. Maybe they want to do something else. It happened with my daughter. I wanted her to do flag football so damn much that I accidentally freaking hurt her throwing a stupid ball. And then, but she tried it out, but her and I were at odds because we were not seeing eye to eye on what she wanted. And I got so caught up in what I wanted that I became toxic. And it had to be my wife and me self-reflecting that maybe I was doing too fucking much. Now she's doing dance and she's navigating her own emotions because she's in her realm. She's in her element. She's doing her shit that she wants to do. And then here's the other one. You embarrass, this is how I know you're toxic as well. You embarrass, you insult, or compare your child. You criticize their intelligence, their body, personality, athletic ability, or appearance. Don't ever fucking do that. You compare them with siblings, teammates, cousins, or classmates. You make private mistakes into public jokes. Humor becomes harmful when the child is always the punchline. You're bullying your own kid. And I understand that sometimes we share stories, and in the Latin community, this is one of the things it's frustrating because we've all lived it. If you're Hispanic, when you mess up, when you make a mistake, you are the butt of the joke. But there is levels and there's points and limits to every joke. And if you're going to be constantly using your child as comedic relief, you are bullying that kid and you are messing up their confidence that they have internally. You're making it go the other way around. The other thing, if you're a toxic parent, is you rarely effing apologize. You believe apologizing weakens your authority. You justify yelling insults or unfair punishment because a child made you angry. A healthy apology might sound like I was right to address the behavior, but I was wrong to yell at you. But that's not what you do. Parents can maintain a boundary while admitting that their delivery was inappropriate. It's okay to say, hey, I was pissed off, but maybe I went about it the wrong way. This happened with me yesterday. I said some shit off the wall. I started laughing when my daughter started venting about her experience during dance class. And when she was looking at her schedule for competitive dance, she felt it was going to be too much for her to handle. My first instinct was, fuck, that's what you're worried about? In my mind, and I started laughing. All she wanted was for me to listen. But her initial reaction was, Dad's laughing. He's not taking it seriously. I'm going to check the fuck out and go to my room. We talked it out, but I caught myself and I apologized to her. But that's something that we need to do and practice better on our own. And then now, when you're a toxic parent, you decide and you control every single flipping choice. You decide their hobbies, their friendships, their clothing, their education, their career, and their relationships. That's borderline toxic. Guidance is necessary, especially when children are young. The problem begins when control continues, even when the child is capable of making age-appropriate decisions. At some point, you have to delegate and hope that you've instilled enough of the proper morals and instincts with your child to be street smart and not make bad choices. But if you continue to do that to an age where they are appropriate to do it on their own, you're not helping, you're hindering them. So, research commonly associates authoritative parenting by warmth combined with clear expectations, with stronger independence, confidence, social competence, and emotional stability. So that's that. Now, there's a couple more that I'm not going to do that, but because it's going to make this episode extra long. But those are 5. So let me give you signs that maybe you are or you have been a spoiled child. So let's see how many of you probably are like, oh, fuck, that was not me, or yeah, it's me. You struggle when someone tells you no. A refusal feels like disrespect. You continue arguing after a decision has been made. You assume persistence, anger, or pressure should eventually change the answer. As an adult, this may appear in relationships, workplaces, customer service situations, or friendships. You expect special treatment. You believe ordinary rules should not apply to you. You expect friends, partners, parents, or co-workers to adjust their lives around your preferences. You become offended when you are treated like everyone else. Hitting home? Okay. You have difficulty handling frustration. Small delays, inconveniences, losses, or mistakes create a major emotional reaction for you. You may quit when something becomes too difficult. You blame other people rather than tolerate discomfort and try again. Children need manageable opportunities to experience disappointment and recover from it. If you're not doing that, if you're not allowing that, if you're not letting them grow and develop from that, you are hindering them. It doesn't fucking help them at all. You cannot solve their problems. They have to freaking figure it out. And if you're a child that you're spoiled because you don't know how to manage your own emotions, then maybe your parents are spoiling you. If they're spoiling you, I don't know what to tell you. And then you expect rewards without responsibility. This is a big one. You want privileges without completing the work attached to them. You expect money, transportation, entertainment, or help without contributing. You believe effort should be optional, but rewards should be guaranteed. Gratitude does not come naturally. You focus on what was missing instead of what was provided. So instead, basically, your child wants a battery-operated scooter. You give them a scooter. Instead of them being happy that you bought them a scooter, they notice and point out that the one that you got them is not the one that they wanted. It's the one that doesn't have the motor in it. And that's all they're stuck on. So now that belittles the gift that you provided for them. So gifts are judged primarily by price, by brand, by size, or comparison with what someone else has received. If you are raising a child that's the first initial things that they look at, you're doing it wrong. They shouldn't be looking or focused into the item that's being handed to them. They should be focused on the actual moment and the gesture, not looking at the tag. If somebody is able to give you a piece of paper that says you've done a great job and that's all you get, that should be enough for you. But if you get that reward and then ask yourself, are they going to give me something else? You're going about it the wrong way, because your child is going to grow up to be an adult that's going to expect the same things in relationships as well. Then it's going to be a quid pro quo. It's going to be like, well, I bought them this, they should be buying me this right back. And then it's a measuring stick of who's putting in more. And that's how they evaluate who's putting in more effort, when in fact the other person could be putting just as much, except their gifts might be a little bit more symbolic and not just monetary. They might be, the gifts they might give you might be moments, might be a movie, might be a night out, might be a random flower or a little letter or a post-it note that they put in your car, or a gesture of them texting you, just saying, how are you doing? Just thinking of you. But that's that. The other one, if you're a spoiled child, you have difficulty sharing attention or resources. Someone else's success feels like something that was taken away from you. That's bad. You become jealous when another person receives praise. You need to be the center of celebrations, conversations, or family decisions. This is happening now in a situation that I don't want to dive into, but it's pretty freaking obvious. And this episode was prompted by that, because I don't believe the parents understand what they're doing is wrong. I think from their perspective, they think that they're doing everything capable and everything possible to put and set their child in a good spot. The problem is that when you're cutting corners and when you are getting straight to the point. It's kind of like when you're playing. It's kind of like when you're playing a game. You guys remember playing Grand Theft Auto years ago, or any of the other games, and then somebody on the internet, on some sort of forum, released the cheat codes for it, the left, right, up, like, you know, that kind of stuff, that if you did that cheat code, you would get unlimited ammo, etc. And the first thing that people did was immediately do that rather than earn every bullet and actually play the game for what it was. It's exactly that. When you skip 5 or 6 steps, you completely miss the point in growth to get there. And if you are raising your child to hit the skip button, hit like every single flicking time that something gets difficult, what are they going to look like? What are they going to be perceiving life as? That it's going to be that accessible, that it's going to be okay to skip a step. But sometimes those steps are needed because that you need to make mistakes to grow and develop so you can appreciate and you know how to navigate those mistakes later. Because there's going to be a moment in time that you're going to be like, how did I do that again? And you're going to be completely forgetful and you're not going to remember how you did it. The same thing with your child. If you provide them all these opportunities with zero context of how you got it there, where it got there, when they run into a challenge and they can't find you and you can't fix it for them, then you as a parent feel like a failure. Then you feel like shit because you're not helping them out, because now they're a lost puppy that they can't figure it out on their own. That's a difficult adult to deal with. And I've worked with those. I have been friends with some of them. And so it's pretty difficult. So if you take anything from today's episode, because we're getting a little lengthy and I could fucking start talking for a full hour on this one. I'm 20 minutes away. Combine warmth with firm bond. See, more coffee. Hold on. Combine warmth with firm boundaries. Stop rewarding tantrums. Use clear and consistent rules. Give responsibilities appropriate to a child's age. Allow natural consequences and don't step in. It's okay to let them fall. As long as you are within arm's distance to maybe step in if needed, but trust in your child that they will figure it out. And I've said this in previous episodes before, and I will continue saying it until I'm blue in the face. Let your kid be themselves. Let your kid have their own personality and develop. If you are going to be constantly putting out that fire for them, if you are constantly going to be going out of their way to appease them, you're missing the fucking point of growing. You're just going to be raising a spoiled, toxic ass human being. That's the expectation that they're going to get from mommy and daddy. Then they're going to have really shitty relationships. And when they don't get that type of relationship, they're going to self-reflect and think that something's wrong with them. Then they get depressed, and then they go through all these mental health issues on their own, and then you're wondering why. And here's the other part. Once you're putting out their fire 24/7, the expectation is that you're going to be doing that consistently. What happens when you run out of the time or the resources to do so, and you start pulling away? Then they're going to get mad at you, thinking that you don't like them anymore. Then they're going to have their own mental issues and self-reflecting again because they're finally getting rejection, and you're forcing them to grow, which you've deprived them of. So if you think you are a toxic parent, maybe you are. But that doesn't mean that's the end-all be-all. You can always pivot and make adjustments, but you have to self-analyze, talk to your spouse, and maybe manage your kids' behaviors a little bit better. It's okay to reward them. If we grew up in places or in situations where we were deprived of opportunity or resources or money, and we want to give our kid everything, because all of us are guilty of the same shit. I want to give my kid absolutely everything that I didn't get. But if you recall, you went through a lot of stuff, and this is where you are. It doesn't mean that you're going to put them through the same torture or nonsense that you went through. But you gotta teach them how to navigate and how to earn that shit. You have to teach them how to earn it. If they never know how to earn it, they'll never know to appreciate it. So with that being said, self-reflect, total switch up from the last episode, but I feel like this one I wanted to get into a little bit more. And just be mindful of that stuff. Don't be a toxic parent. Please don't. Because I see it from the outside looking in, and it's not pretty. It's petty. It's really annoying. And the fact that a lot of people have to like smile and nod and be like, when in reality you want to be like, bro, let your kid do that. But anyway, with that being said, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you very much for listening. It's about 7:03 p.m. in the evening on August 6th. And like I said, thank you for all the supporters. Thank you for all the email, the love, the shares, the comments, and the feedback. We will be getting to 100K. I know we will. So with that being said, have a great day. God bless. Good night.